All right, I got a big announcement to make, and let's talk a little bit about men's health. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
It's a me,
Dario!
Woohoo! Let's go!
All right, so I'll get into the big announcement. It doesn't really have to do with my show, but I kind of teased about it yesterday. Not really teased, I just mentioned it. So it's official, the P1 podcast. For those of you who don't know, I work for a radio station called Rock 105.3 in San Diego, and we have a podcast called, after the show, we have a podcast called the P1 Podcast. And it's uncensored, so it's the show members, uncensored, unfiltered. It's extremely popular. We just had our first live P1 podcast P1 podcast event, and it was a great success. People loved it. So we decided to take the next step on it. And by the way, I'm the producer on that. It's funny, I kind of hired myself. I just kind of took over that role, and I was like, all right, I'm the producer now. And since it's funny, you are you are pretty much your job. I mean, what you do is what you are. So I started doing it, and that's what I was. Anyway, so that's advice for everybody there. Anyway, so we just did our first one live. It went great, and so we decided to take the next step, and that is we're going to be recording video of the P1 podcast while we're recording it on here in the studio, and we're going to load it onto YouTube. So that's something that P1's wanted. We think that it's going to be very successful because the P1 podcast is very successful. We think it's going to be good for a YouTube channel. By the way, it's the show on Rock 105.3 if you want to check that out. So all good things, all good fun, and we just recorded it. So I'm actually sitting now waiting for the stupid thing to render. For those of you who don't know what rendering is basically waiting for the thing to export. Like, I edited it out. I did like a really basic little edit because this is kind of like the test one. See if we like this style, we're going to go with another one. But, yeah, so it was just, I'm just here waiting for it to render because it takes for fucking ever. Rendering is the fucking worst. I hate it. That's why, it's one of the worst parts about fucking editing video. I hate editing video, but I can do it. And, so it's part of the producer's job, you know. Anyway, so yeah, you can look forward to that. It should be up by the time this podcast is up, mainly because I'm the one who loads it. So I will just wait before I load my podcast, and I'll load that one first. That way you can just go straight to it. So again, you can find it on YouTube. The YouTube channel, it's called The Show on Rock 105.3. It's right there. Also, if you want to listen to this podcast, you can find it in the iHeartRadio app. Just type in The Show Presents, Super Dario World, or you can find it on my YouTube channel, Super Dario World Podcast, iTunes, and SoundCloud as well, Super Dario World Podcast. Anyway, so you can find all that there. I'm still going to keep doing my own videos. The reason why I mentioned that is because this is a really time-consuming thing. Because usually I'm not in the studio while they're doing the podcast. I just listen to it afterwards when I edit things out or when I'm loading it. Now I have to be in there recording. Afterwards I have to be editing. And so I don't know what this means for my podcast, but it does mean that I will have to take a slight step back and just make things a little bit shorter, I think. I won't be able to go as deep on stuff. I'll still try to make it. I'll still try to do the video reviews and stuff. And I do want to make mine completely video as well. But for the moment, I think I'm going to have to take a slight step back on some of that other stuff because, well, then the other one is the bigger one. So, and you gotta go where, you know, you gotta fish where the fish are, or how do you say it? Gotta go where, I don't know. I don't even know what expression I'm going for. I'm exhausted, by the way. I'm dead. Yesterday, I went over to Mexico because I wanted to see my dogs and I had some stuff to do over there. And the cross back was horrible. It was like 11 p.m., and it took me over an hour to cross back. Fortunately, you know, with phones now, you can just watch a show or something. I actually played with my Switch. I'm playing a new game, and I'll do a review for it soon. It's actually pretty fun. For those of you who don't know, I do reviews for a website called ReviewNation.net. You can check out my reviews right there. I did one for Cobra Kai. I did one for The Boys, Crash Team Racing. I've done a whole bunch of stuff. You can check it out there. My latest one was about the panel for the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance, which I'm really looking forward to seeing soon. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I'll probably be slowing down a little. I don't know. It depends. I mean, I'm still just sitting here waiting for the stupid thing to render. I just hope that one software doesn't mess up the other. Anyway, so I wanted to talk a little bit about men's health as well because there's a news article today that says that there's a study that shows that more men are going to spas and more males are embracing the wellness industry. So I thought that was very interesting because they're a bunch of pants. No, I'm just kidding. No, because I think men's health is something very important. It's something that we kind of just ignore. We kind of just, as guys, we kind of just forget to take care of ourselves sometimes. And because I had a conversation with a P1 who reached out. I don't know if any of you remember this but quite a few episodes back, I talked a little bit about PTSD because I dated somebody with PTSD, and so I got really interested in the subject, and I got a lot of information on it, and so I got kind of informed on it. And so a listener, who I hope doesn't mind, I'm not going to say the listener's name, but they reached out and said that they had certain issues, and so I basically gave them my advice based on the information that I got. But I thought it was very interesting. Well, first off, I love that he reached out. It's great. I mean, it's a hard thing to do. The hardest thing to do is just reach out, And that's why I put up the offer. Anybody who wants to talk to me, I'm available. I'll try to help out as much as I can. I'm not an expert, but sometimes all you have to do is find somebody, who will listen. And not just only that, it's easier to talk to somebody you don't really know. It's weird. So you're really concerned about the people who are closest to you, what they're going to think. But when it's a complete stranger, you can just open up. So has that ever happened to anybody when you're just at the bar talking to a random stranger and you realize I'm being way more honest than I should be? It's an interesting thing, and I don't know why. I think because I mean logically you should have your guard up, right? But no, for some reason it's a little bit easier, or at least so I have found. Anyway, so I was talking to him about that, and I think it's a good thing that men are taking a little bit more care of themselves, but I don't think that it's a body thing because, going to spas and all that stuff, it's a physical thing. I understand. And your body does keep the score on things, and some emotional stuff, you get physical manifestations on your body. I get all that. But I think that we should start taking a little bit more care of our mental health. And which is something that sometimes we ignore. We want to power through. We want to think that it's a normal thing. It's what guys do. It's what we want to do. It's what we're meant to do. It's what we're supposed to do. And you don't really stop to take care of yourself. And this is something that I started noticing with a lot of people around me, friends, coworkers, and stuff, where they just shrug things off. They're like, there's something that's really stressing them, really bothering them. They're like, oh yeah, well, whatever. It is what it is. Well, I mean, should it be? Should it be what it is? Should you just accept things because, oh well, what can I do? I mean, there's many things you can do. To me, one of my favorite things in the world to do is stop doing things. Just cut them out of your life. It's really it takes a weight off. Sometimes we carry a whole bunch of stuff that we don't have to carry, or we carry other people's burdens because I don't know why we think we do. It's a weird thing, and I think it goes back to the evolutionary thing about why we think that we should be like the protectors and all that stuff, which ideally we should. But at the same time, we shouldn't be doing it, A, when it's not being asked, and B, when it's detrimental to our own health. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? There's a reason why men die younger than women, and it's usually because we live under more stress. And it's good that apparently, or at least the newer generations, were taking a turn into being, you know what? I got to take care of me because we only have one body. Right? We only have one. We only have one mind. And if you don't take care of both of those things, we're not going to go very far, or at least not for very long, and high quality standards of living. So my advice there would be, just take a minute. Take a minute and enjoy something. Well, what I used to do is just sometimes I just I took a minute to just enjoy something beautiful, like a song, or I like going to a park and just looking around because for some reason looking at the color green relaxes me, or at the ocean. So just going out to a park and just looking at nature a little bit. Just take a few minutes, take a deep breath, relax, take a minute for you, because sometimes all we need is quiet. But like I said, just enjoy something beautiful. Sometimes it was a video game for me. There's one video game that I consider to be a masterpiece, beautiful, and it's just just enjoy the experience. Basically, try to enjoy something once a day. Plan something, or at least once a week. Sometimes we don't even do that. Sometimes we just put our heads down and power through the week. We just suffer through it. We're just suffering through life. This was something that was actually pretty interesting that my shrink told me. Last year I was training for a triathlon, and because I said that I was going to do a triathlon because I wanted to do something different, and I was going to therapy, and when my shrink asked me like, oh, how's training going? I'm like, good. I'm just powering through. It's kind of a drag. And, but, I got to do it because I don't want to drown out there. So I'm powering through. And he just looked at me and he said, have you ever considered maybe just, enjoying it? And, it's weird how much that little question just kind of blew me away. I don't think I'd ever even considered it. There's certain things in life that you just power through, but you never, stop and smell the roses. It hadn't even crossed my mind that this could have been an enjoyable experience. It was really weird. And once I started looking at it that way, training wasn't that much of a drag. It wasn't just like, okay, I got to go there, do 2 hours and power through it. It's like, no, it's like I'm there. You focus a little bit more on breathing, you enjoy feeling stronger. Every rep you do, you feel like your muscles, you're actually enjoying it. You try to convince yourself. What I do, and this was really hard at the beginning, is just I would close my eyes, put my head down, and be like, I'm having fun. This is 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 fun. Even though I was miserable and dying because I wasn't in the best shape yet. But you just put your head down, power through it, convince yourself this is fun. This is fun. This is fun. This is fun. I'm having fun. I'm having fun. I'm having fun. So my advice to you is try to enjoy things. Why don't you just enjoy it? Just when you're at work, why don't you just enjoy it? It's let's say, even if you have what you consider a crappy job, what would be a crappy job? The crappiest job I had was I worked at a McDonald's. And honestly, I loved it because a lot of my best friends worked there. And so we just have a blast. We'd make it like a boys club. We'd mess around with people in the through the drive-thru. It was great. We had a lot of fun. We made our own. We enjoyed it. We learned how to enjoy it. It's right now I work at a restaurant. Some people have told me that they enjoy the shifts with me more because I clown around a little. I always get my job done. That's one thing. Always get your fucking work done. Always. Don't just stop to chat. Keep those hands moving, bruh. Keep moving, but try to make, your environment more enjoyable, either to yourself or to others. It makes a difference. So, if you want to go to a spa because I guess it's easier to have somebody else just rub you and feel less tense. But honestly, my advice is try to enjoy things. Just go ahead and try to enjoy it. Anyway, that's it. This thing finished rendering, so that's it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully it was helpful. As always, any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Dario the Show on Instagram. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you again tomorrow.